Alright, YouTube, my name is Ekuegan, you call me EK. In today's video, I want to do a quick breakdown on the Enyo-D. I know a lot of people say it looks just like the, Antiope. And, it having that D at the end of it doesn't really, justify it. But, here we are. I've come to kind of like the weapon a bit. There's a lot of SMGs out there, and I think the one from the Vow of the Disciples is probably one of the best SMGs to have. But yeah, we're gonna go through this roll here. I do like it for a different purpose, so I also like to talk about that, why I would want something like this just to save up in my inventory. So let's look at what the weapon can roll first, and then I'll go through the rest. So generally, this SMG has a lot of good options. I would say even if you were playing Crucible, right, you could probably do something with maybe fragile focus. I do know that it has a Hakke breach armament, which is really good in PvE because you get extra damage against vehicles, turrets, barricades, and stasis crystals, right? But on the PvP side, you can see that this trait also works against barricades, okay? So if you're facing a lot of Titans out there, they're putting a lot of, void shields up, this weapon can kind of do extra damage, 15% to be exact, right? You put something like that with maybe Vorpal, boom. You have two things that could kind of work even in the PvE side of things. But I would just look at it from a PvP standpoint. If I went with fragile focus, accurized rounds, depending on who you are, what your playstyle is, what your input is, you might want fluted, you might want hammer forge. I do feel like the reload here does lack. So maybe Feeding Frenzy is something, especially if you're in 6s. I feel like Fragile is really good for 3s because you're not going to have too many people trying to shoot at you, whereas Feeding Frenzy might be better for this. Rampage is never a bad thing to have. You don't need to go for Rampage. But now if we're looking at it from a PvE standpoint, the base reload for this gun is 18. So that's already something that's kind of slacking. But for precisions and aggressive SMGs, I'm a huge fan of having range on these guys. So I'm definitely going to be one of those people that kind of pushes for a range masterwork. And I'm going to be pushing for Accurized because the weapons definitely feel a lot better when you have this on there. Hammer Forge, you can see that the range on this is now up to 79, which is pretty insane. Then for my reload, once again, I'm not a huge fan of what I'm seeing. So I think Feeding Frenzy is never a bad thing, especially because if you get 5 times, boom, you're getting that reload bonus. So that's never a bad thing. You can always stack that with something like Rampage or even multi-kill clip. When I'm looking at this, I think multi-kill clip is probably going to help me out a lot better because if I kill and I have this up, right, one kill gives me 17, the second kill gives me 33, and the last one gives me 50. This is probably going to be one of the best things to use if you're at level with enemies. If you're not at level with enemies, you might want to look for something different. Or if you want something like Vorpal, just to kind of crank out if you have a champion mod on the artifact. Now, my selection is going to be Wellspring, and I'll kind of explain that. We are in Solar 3.0. There are a lot of different abilities that we have in the game. So having something like Wellspring to help out is really nice. Wellspring does give you 8% back for each thing, right? So it splits it out. So if we go into Wellspring here, I think of it more as a useful thing. So look, my strength is at 45. It tells me that I am going to get my melee back in about a minute and 24. Now let's say that I let my melee go, and I get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, about 7 kills. I think it takes about 13, possibly, maybe even less. 8, 9. Okay, so it took me 9 kills because my tier was at 4. All right. So Wellspring is not a bad thing to have, especially if you have a build out there that's set up around your melee, your grenade, or maybe even your class ability. You now have something that can work. Once again, I am looking for the multi-kill clip roll, but the best one that I have is Rampage currently, and having Rampage on this gun is not bad either, especially if you're looking for a primary and you haven't touched the raid. This would be your next best bet. It does feel really nice, especially when Feeding Frenzy ×5 is up. The reload is pretty spicy. You can see that I don't have any reload for my SMG on here. So I'm sure the gun probably feels exceptionally better if you have like an SMG reload. I don't think you need it with Heat and Frenzy being on this weapon. All right, so if you're out there, you're wondering, or you got a few of these, and you don't know what you want on it, or maybe Banshees sell something that you might like, definitely keep an eye on it for it. All right, that's about it. I want to say thank you very much for checking out this video. I know a lot of people don't see all of the stats on the weapon, so I'm actually going to go to the screen real quick so we kind of go over that. You can see here that the one that I have doesn't have much range. It kind of slacks off at 59, but the one that I showed you that I've been enjoying. Oh man, I didn't put a kill track on this thing. Okay, the one that I've been enjoying, you can see that the range here is actually at 79. It's like the max that I want. Now you could use full bore, but I'm not. I feel like Hammer Forge is just much better. And if you like using SMGs, even in the Crucible side of things, maybe this is something that may work for you. But yeah, that's it. I'll see you guys on the next one. Don't forget to hit the like and subscribe button if you like this content. And I stream daily at twitch.tv/Ekuegan. Deuces.